we've been talking about Catholic school and those memories, and so this is one of my poems about that. It's called Chalk Lines, also an endangered species, chalk. Something about the white on black, endangered chalk with its single cursive line, diagram of sentence, lynching of language, on your side, verbs, geometry of the periodic table, arsenic, barium, mercury, biology of a splayed, quivering frog, the geography of a top-down world. All of this outlining the murder of innocence and curiosity. When Sister Leo Mary had a bad day, a flying eraser loaded with dust flew across the room, dispersing repetitive, forgettable facts onto the heads of children, subjects in the patriarchy of broken spirit, broken will. I will not speak to my neighbor. I will not ask questions. I will honor God. These chalk lines are the scripture women all over the world are trying to rewrite.
Really good.
So that's my empowerment piece. It's my, I don't know, Me Too poem for nuns, I guess. So I was going to read this poem from Poems from the Playground of Risk. I'll read this one, and then I'll read the one about my mom. September 11th, a transubstantiation. Today, I caught myself on a tin can. I was distracted. Had this wound been 1 inch over, 1 more deep, I would have lost the ability to live life with my hands. My ability to get around by crawling, claw-like, through this life. It would have left me depending on my least dominant hand, writing from the brain less loud. But instead, I'm saved by the 6 stitches and the laughing doctor on call who pronounces me lucky. Not to worry, nothing damaged. 10 days later, Suzanne clips the tied, thin, shrouded filaments that keep me from spilling out and other things from getting in. I am told this is a good thing. No scar tissue, should heal nicely. Daily I touch the pink skin and the 12-hold stigmata. This new geography changes minute by minute. Separate holes blend together. From the sky, an airplane view. It looks like a table set for 12. The heads of my apostles sitting down to supper, watching Jesus transubstantiate before them. There it is.
Oh yeah.
The scar, and you can barely see the little white heads of the apostles. That is in my stigmata. Yeah.
Goes well with my slicing the orange story.
Right. Yeah, it does.
That would be fun.
Have
that would be a fun thing to do, is to get a group of people together. Maybe you've already done this, and put your poems out and see where there's a common theme.
Oh, Steve and I do that all the time.
Do you do that all the time?
Yeah, we have a whole.
You have a whole routine.
And it is tremendous fun.
We call ourselves the dueling poets.
Oh.
And I get to shoot Mike.
Oh! Let me know when you're going to do it again, because I'd love to come and hear it. That would be great.
Okay.
I love it.
Okay. Do that.
So you may have known that I took care of my mom for like 6 years, and so I have a whole other set of poems that talk about caregiving and what that's like to be a caregiver and all of that. Which, by the way, Kate Mulgrew, Captain Janeway on Voyager, Star Trek, if you're Star Trek, just came out with a book where she took care of her own parents in Iowa. Dying to read it. I hear it's a really, really wonderful book. Anyway, this is called Spider Onion, Canyon de Chelly. I had the really very fortunate experience of co-leading some groups into Canyon de Chelly, which is on the Navajo Reservation in the northeast quadrant of Arizona. Did that for a number of years, and I was also the camp cook. So this poem resonates. sort of document some of that experience. Spider Onion. Oh, and Spider Rock, which is the very large monument that comes out of the ground there, is the sacred site of the Navajo people that tells their story of creation. So, it is Mother's Day. I am standing elbow to elbow with Joseph, my paisan. His face remembers me to all the beauty of olive-skinned people. We are talking about food and the ways in which our history lives in what we eat. I notice how many times I have mentioned my mother, as if she is already gone from me. I remember how she rolled long, thin strands of dough, twirled gnocchi on the tines of a fork, or how she fried bietali of rice and squash blossoms, or how she made extra meatballs so we could each have one before she threw them all into the big pot of gravy. Now, as I cut while Joseph chops, I see how I work an onion in the same way she did, like a tight hug on the cusp of where the life and love lines junction at the center of my palm. I bear claw the knife and draw the blade across all the onion's veins, much like the way a spider might weave its web. And in this weaving, I see that my hands have changed into weathered extensions of her. Today, on Mother's Day, the web between us is of spider to spider, no longer each other's prey. Here in the canyon, everything is possible. I think that kind of gets at sort of what I was saying earlier about my poems. They have a little bit of a story in it. There's a little bit of maybe emotionality in it, and then there's this transformational thing that I try to achieve in my poem, where it might be talking about something that was tough or a little dark, but I try to end somewhere where I might feel like it might have been hard, but at least there was a transformation that might have happened. That's an important, I think, piece of my work. So
I like the parts where you found yourself becoming her in certain ways.
Yeah,
you could see her. You could see her in yourself, in your actions. And
yes, and in something
in
that
your
she
hands,
loved, in our hands, and in something that she loved, which was cooking.
Yeah,
you know, and sustenance. And nutrition and nourishment, you know, something that she really loved to do.
What you need is another chapbook, though. I mean, I know you do have a lot of material.
I do have a lot of material.
I know what you mean, though, about not. The first couple of times I was published, thought it was a big deal and it was fun to open up a book. But I'm with you. There's much more of a direct connection with an audience when you read. If you make that.
Yeah. I mean, I think so too. And I'm happy that if someone says to me, "Oh, I would love to have some of your poems," I'm happy to photocopy them and give them to them and get, here. I don't feel that territorial in that way. If someone asks me, it's a privilege to be able to share. What I wanted to say about, so like a little segue is, we were talking earlier about reading poems to people in unusual places. You were saying how you read one to a doctor. And so one year I gave myself a challenge for National Poetry Month. I said, okay, this was in Emmaus. I was in a new location in the Lehigh Valley. I really didn't know very many people, and I thought, okay, I'm going to do this. So I read a poem to my eye doctor, which was about the eye and how the eye looks like a nebula. I went to my dentist and I read Smiling with His Mouth Closed. He loved it so much, he wanted a copy and he wanted to send it out to his regional newsletter because he thought it was a stitch. And what was interesting about that moment is whenever I would go to my dentist, he was always very rushed. Like, oh my God, nice guy, funny guy, but like, oh my God. Like he was always like, and so and he had a student with him that day. So he was like using me as like a teaching moment. So here I come with my little book of poems, right? And I was like, okay, before we start, I would like to read a poem. And he's like, you gotta be kidding. I don't have time. Like you want me to like stop? Like he was really. And I said, I tell you what, Dr. B, you're gonna love it. I guarantee you're gonna love this. And of course the dental student's like, I think I need to get another internship somewhere else. Yeah, this is too weird for me. So I said, first of all, I want you to take a breath. You're allowed 3 minutes to breathe.
Good for you.
Yeah, wow.
So we sat down, took a breath. I read him the poem, and he just sat there, and he was like, "Thank you so much. Thank you. I want a copy of that." And then he couldn't stop talking about it. So, like, for that moment, I felt like me reading it to him instead of handing it to him made that connection.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like I was a little teacher in that moment. I offered him the opportunity to transform everything that he thought about poetry or what that could be.